Hello, Leo. This is your reading for the week of September 29th, and it could be Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus, or a lot of Leo in your chart. So what I see for you, Leo, is I see you putting on ballet tights and tying up your point shoes, and I'm getting ready to watch you on stage, and in your mind, it's kind of like you're on stage, but in fact, you're not on stage. You are in front of a ballet bar and a mirror, and you are struggling a little bit with the posture that you think you should be having. And what I'm being told here, my dear Leos, is soften yourself a little bit, because you can be running yourself into overwhelm just by thinking too much about who you should be, how you should be. And it can be running sometimes even a little bit below the surface of you sitting down with a cup of coffee and actually thinking, this is what I should be. Although sometimes for some of you it is that. What you're being told here, my dears, is this. Sometimes when there's too much emotional information for you to process, you can go into overwhelm. And in those times, sometimes what you'll do, because you can't seem to find your way through it. You may think you're finding your way through it logically, but emotionally you haven't really processed your way through it. And that can cause you sometimes to throw the baby out with the bathwater, as they say. The taking what is a disruption that's uncomfortable and defining the entire relationship by that, or the entire, now everything becomes tarred by that brush, or everything is seen through that lens, and therefore it becomes expendable. You've lost some people in your life that way, and worse than that, you've carried a grief around it, sometimes positioned as they've done me wrong, when in fact sometimes people were just being human, living their life, and you took it personally in a way where you threw the baby out with the bathwater because you couldn't see beyond your hurt, or your ego. Sometimes they're so closely linked, though, in terms of how you see that. So what you're being told here, my dears, is this. You do have a great capacity to really care about people. You absolutely do. When you find yourself getting rigid in that way where you want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, or even if before you get to that point where you're feeling overwhelmed by emotion that's coming at you too fast, and sometimes coming up for you too fast, is to try to ease into kindness, okay? A kind of tenderness, a kind of, don't worry about being right. What can you do in that moment to be kind to yourself while you're experiencing these emotions? Because listen to it like this. The image that they were giving me was, when you want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, when you are affronted like this, it's not just putting a wall up for them or against whatever the situation is. It's not just going in resistance to something and pushing it away. You're actually hurting yourself. And it's not just hurting yourself by losing something good. You're actually in a place of hurt when you do that. And when you act out of that place, you tend to hold on to that hurt. So there may be some grieving that you need to do around some things that you've handled that way. There may be reparation to be made, or maybe not. But maybe you just need to be able to let yourself grieve it, not from this place of, I have a right to be hurt. Wow, we all have a right to be hurt, but does it feel good? No. What can you do to get out of that? And what you're being showed is the responsibility card. Responsibility card. The ability to respond, which says you do have the option of responding differently to this situation. And if you can lean into the qualities of kindness, the softness, the tenderness, the curiosity rather than judgment, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to respond in a way that is really appropriate, that is coming out of positive emotion, and is really going to help you continue to be able to create wonderful community for yourself. and learn how to deal with these emotions differently. You're being told also to remember all of your good qualities at the point where you feel like you want to push somebody away, throw the baby out with the bathwater, because often in those times, when you start remembering all of your good qualities, that softens you, that opens you. And that, I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it actually, instead of making you prideful and in a way where your arrogance makes you want to push people away, and this goes for all of us, by the way, it gives you the opportunity to see yourself in a good light and therefore take less personally any affront from other people. Now, it's also saying, if you're in a state of overwhelm, please remember the kindness, the ability to respond, those bubbly qualities, but also stay in your senses. Okay? If you're in strong emotion or overwhelm, one of the best things that you can do is slow things down by getting in touch with your physical senses, because that brings you into present time, and that tells your nervous system that you're safe. So that's one of the best things you can do for yourself in that regard. Leo, I'm going to leave you with that because I think that's really quite specific, and I think that's all they need to say. Do you need to say anything else right now? No, they're good. Take care, Leo.